Okay, this is a little interior photography tutorial. Okay, so first thing we're gonna do before we turn the camera on is make sure that the autofocus is turned on. So that's autofocus, that's manual focus. Okay. And then usually you're doing the widest possible, but the key thing is make sure to look inside the viewfinder so that you can kind of see exactly what the lens is doing. But anyway, normally you're doing it the widest. Okay, so now we're going to turn the camera on here. Turn it all the way on until it's on that little notch. Okay, and then we're going to press this button to get the menu up. So actually, first things first, make sure this is on M for manual. Okay, we'll go back to this. Okay, this you never want to change, so I usually just keep it at like 7 or 8. And that's the aperture size. This you want the lowest possible. Okay, so this you want at 100. Okay. This is the one that you're going to change depending on the light in the room. So to leave that alone for now. And then this is what you're going to change to get yourself to the 3 different photos. It's called exposure bracketing. Okay, so to do that, press this button here and then use this until you get all 3 of these hash marks there. Okay, and then hit this middle button with your thumb. Okay, there you've got your 3 hash marks. This I usually, but this is how it does autofocus. I usually just, there's different options, but I just usually, you can just do automatic, that's fine. Okay, this one's important here. You want to put it on the 2-second timer. Okay, and then you'll be ready to shoot. Okay, so as far as camera placement, usually what I try to do is keep the camera at about waist level. If you're shooting over the tops of kitchen counters, you might need a little higher, but generally try to keep the camera at waist level. Okay. Now, the tripod's pretty important. What you're trying to do is level this thing as much as you can. So when you're using one of these types of tripods that has these kind of fine adjustments, you'll want to twist these dials until the bead is dead center. Okay. And then the other thing, which I don't know like a super accurate way to do this, but you want to make this as perpendicular to the wall as you can, and you just kind of have to look down at it. So I think it's going at an angle here to the right, so I'm just gonna, you can use this knob to kind of move the camera. It'll rotate it a little bit. Okay, so try to take as many photos straight on as you can. And then I have my camera set up where this button focuses and it'll beep when it's focused. Hear that? Your camera might have autofocus where you just press this down a little bit and it'll focus. Okay. Now before you do the photo, you want to look through the viewfinder, and I can't show you on the phone, but we'll do it here. So whenever you press the autofocus button, it's going to measure the light, and you'll see we need to get those hash marks to where they're about like that, or maybe even a little brighter like that. Okay, and then we can take a photo. So it just took 3 photos. Okay, and I'll do usually what I do is make it a little brighter where that middle hash is just to the right of the middle. Okay, so we'll load those into Lightroom. We're going to import these photos. So we've got the bright, the dark, and the middle. So we're going to select all 3 of those, right click. Oh, actually, no, I need to import them first. Okay, now I can select these 3, right click, and then we're going to photo merge HDR. Okay, here's our photo. Double click on this. Okay. So first thing we'll do is we're going to do the lens correction first, because it tends to brighten the image up a little bit. So we'll click both of these. Okay. And so that's the first one you want to do. And then this looks kind of yellow to me, so what I usually do is try the auto for the white balance to see if that fixes it. Yeah, that looks a little better. You might have to play with the temperature a little bit, but in this case, auto seems to do a pretty good job. Okay. And then, these light settings are they're kind of subjective. I like to kind of make them bright, but not too bright. You might want to play with the blacks. That gives it a little more contrast. But that doesn't look bad. Oops. Select the wrong photo. There we go. Okay. Now, one of the things that makes photos look really professional is if they're just super straight. Okay. So let's do that next. We're going to go to geometry. Okay. Now the key thing. See how the edge of this door frame is not totally parallel with the edge of the frame of the photo itself. And then also we've got this here is kind of straight, but not totally. And that's even after using that camera level. But the idea with the camera level is you want to make it so that these adjustments are not drastic. And I think in this case they won't be. Okay. So if you highlight this, it kind of shows you how it works, right? You draw 2 lines that are not parallel, and it makes them parallel. Okay? So that's what we're going to do. So click on that button, and we're going to do 2 parallel lines. I'm going to do this one first, and then you have to find another one, and usually you want to find one on the other side of the photo. It could be here on the left of this door, or it could be here. Basically, just any line you can find that's straight. So we'll do this line first, And by the way, this little circle that you see is just a magnifying glass. You can kind of do this a little more accurately. So that's our first line, and it doesn't do anything until you draw the second line. And then I'm going to draw this second line here. And after I finish the second line, you'll see it's going to straighten the photo out, at least in the vertical aspect. Okay. And if I undo that, see, it's not drastic, but it definitely is straighter. Okay. And now, after you do the upright, we're going to do the left to right. And again, just find two lines that are parallel in the photo, but not parallel with the edge, and just draw the guide. So I'm going to do this one, and then I'll do this one here at the bottom of this cart. We'll do that, and then okay, that's it. Now that's a pretty straight photo. And then you can now if you're taking a photo that's not straight on, like from a corner, then you can only do the vertical straightening. You can't do the horizontal straightening. But anyway, we can talk about that in person. Okay, that's it.